I hope that's going to happen in my office. Okay, got it. Again, good morning, everyone. I'm Susie Proctor, Chair of the Education Subcommittee, and I thank you for joining us. We have two bills that we're going to have here this morning. The first one is PG 50622, Delegate Ivy, and the second will be PG 50722, School Board Districts. This was sponsored by Senator Pinsky. We're going to start with 50622. John, would you like to give us an overview?
Absolutely. So 506, Prince George's County Board of Education membership alterations, PG 506-22. The bill summary is as follows. This bill alters the membership of the Prince George's County Board of Education to include only elected members, and there is no prior introduction.
Thank you. And we have the sponsor here. Delegate Ivy, what would you like to add?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, not too much to add. This bill has not been introduced in this exact format, but I've proposed similar legislation since my first term here. Of course, we're all well aware in the Education Subcommittee, we all have been doing this work for quite some time. You're well aware of the where we are in our county and where different leaders are as well on this issue. So, you know, with our county executive and the recommendations coming out, it's my hope that we can move this bill this year. And I know that we still have to come and find a consensus on some of the amendments, whether we should add in more of the recommendations made by the county executive's work group. I'm completely open to that. But again, just here presenting the bill again, and I look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you. Delegate Valentino Smith, you have a hand up.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Delegate Ivy, as always, thanks for all of your concern and hard work over the functioning of the school board. So the question I have is that because this was a concept that you put in last year, and it certainly has been something that's been, you know, the status of the school board hasn't changed between the filing deadline for our bills and the late filing deadline. And certainly when we file it in October, we have more of a chance of the public really seeing it and coming to participate in our public hearing in December, weeks and weeks, and they see it and everybody knows that's kind of like our big hurrah to hear from the public. So waiting for such an important issue and filing it late, what changed between the decision to file it as a delegation bill and what changed to all of a sudden make you think it needed to be a late filed bill in those couple of weeks versus the whole last year and everything? I'm just trying to understand.
Sure. You know, I'm not one to seek out a brick wall to slam my head against. I don't know who's not muted in the background, but we can hear a lot of feedback. I don't know what that is. But Delegate Valentino Smith, you know, 3 years in a row, I bring similar legislation. I propose it and, you know, it stalls somewhere along the process. You know, I've heard concerns from individuals that, you know, this is a touchy issue. And some individuals asked me not to propose the bill. Our county executive created this work group and she made a recommendation in line with her public position on this issue that she's held since she was a candidate for county executive. And now you're right, this is a late filed bill, but the recommendations from the work group came out days ago after the fact. And, you know, I look at the issue that we face, and there are multiple issues that we're facing right now. One of them being that the county executive has said very publicly that this is a priority, and now it is in our purview. And it's up to us to either act and move swiftly, like we have done so many times in the past, or we could delay. And I think that that is the wrong thing for us to do. So
Well, I know, I appreciate that. I think clearly, really sincerely, what I was trying to understand was because you've proposed this and because it's been a big issue, why it wasn't proposed in time for the full public hearing, and why all of a sudden what changed in that couple of weeks was really, I understand the position. So thank you for the sincerity.
yeah, the change is coming from our county executive.
Did
Specifically.
the county ask you to put this bill in, or has the county told you that they'll support it? The county executive?
Well, her recommendations.
The recommendations, as far as we've been told by the school board or been presented to us, and someone can correct me if I'm different, are that that was a board that she appointed more or less with the hands off. I won't tip the scale and put my positions into that board, and that we are waiting, unless you've gotten it and we haven't, the county executive's official position in response to that committee, but that committee was to be interpreted by us as an independent, objective body of recommendations, and not to be interpreted as the complete position of the county executive.
Okay.
So he communicated to you. Help us understand, this is a huge and important issue for us.
Absolutely.
Zooming and we're not together in the halls. Has
Sure.
the executive asked you to put this in? Is that why it's late filed? And has she told you that this is the position she supports? Because I'm kind of hearing that from you, but you might not be intentionally trying to relate that.
No. The chair of our delegation asked me to put this bill in. And so, it's part of a larger discussion, of course. I have not had a conversation with the county executive where she looked me in the eyes and told me to propose this bill, but there are many statements that she's put into the press in the last several weeks that have made it very clear where she stood on this issue throughout the entirety of her term in office. And, it's up to us to make a decision of whether or not we're going to move this bill specifically. But again, thank you for the question. And I hope that
No, thank you. And really, you and then the chair I see he's on need to help us understand, it's a late filed bill. Is this the position of the county executive or not? And we may learn that later, but just trying to really get down to where we all are on the same page. And maybe I'm just not feeling I'm on that page because I have not gotten that directive yet, or we haven't been given yet in our subcommittee, the county executive's official position on that. So I appreciate you helping us understand why it was late. Thank you for your work on this issue.
Madam Chair, you're muted.
Thank you, Delegate Valentino Smith. We now have a hand from Delegate Landis.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Madam Chair. Delegate Ivy, I do want to thank you for putting the bill forth. My feeling regarding your piece of legislation and the work group that the county executive has put together and the work group that Delegate Proctor has put together on this particular issue. We've met on several occasions. We met last week with union representatives, with one union representative, and we're scheduled to meet with members of the Board of Education, appointed and elected, I believe this week or next week. I'm not sure, but I know it's coming, and hopefully eventually we'll have an opportunity to sit and meet with the county executive, at which time I'm pretty confident that we will receive her feelings or her endorsement or her perception of the recommendations that came from the task force that she put together. But I want to caution us, because I don't think that we can move forward expeditiously to the point where we pass this resolution and be under the illusion that having an all-elected Board of Education is going to cure the ills that we continually suffer for decades now with the governance structure of Prince George's County, of our school system. I think the work group that we've put together, that Delegate Proctor has put together, where we're meeting with members of the task force and the county executive soon to be, and members of the board. I think it's through that work group, and with you being involved, Delegate Ivy, and with Delegate Charles, the work that he's doing, It's what we do collaboratively to bring everything together at the table that's really going to make a significant difference. And again, I have to say that it's not going from a hybrid Board of Education to an elected Board of Education will not get us where we need to be. We've done the merry-go-round musical chairs of changing the governance structure from all elected to all appointed to hybrid. And here we're going to go right back to elected if that's the will of the majority of the delegation. But it's going to require us to take a deeper dive to look at the roles and the responsibilities of Board of Education members. So I just really, implore us to work together on this collaboratively at the table. Because, like I said, changing to elected, that's not going to get us where we need to be. We've been kicking that can down the road for decades. And the can is worn out. And I think that the people of Prince George's County are worn out and our children deserve better. So those are my comments that, I just want everyone to know that I'm really committed to working with all of you. And we have to get this right. We don't have the luxury of getting this wrong. And so thank you for the time, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Delegate Landis. Do we have any other comments? I think Delegate Landis covered it all. We are in the process of getting information from the work group. We also, all of us have not seen all of the recommendations from the county. So
Delegate Proctor,
yes.
Delegate Charles, I wanted to chime in to at least just address Delegate Valentino Smith's concerns and everybody who may have questions. As you're aware, and everyone's aware, we have about 3 different vehicles going at the same time right now. Mm-hmm. So one, we had the county executive who had her work group that recently came back with recommendations. We have to figure out, do we all even agree on every single recommendation that she's presented? Is this something that we can collectively get out of the delegation? That's what we have to figure out with her recommendations. Then in addition to that, we have the work group that you have pulled together, Delegate Proctor, so that we can start getting more and more people engaged in this process, what we have going on through Education Subcommittee. Then there's another process where we have the bill that was submitted by Delegate Pena-Melnick, which will extend this if we can't have anybody come to any agreements. Delegate Ivey's bill is a placeholder bill, just in case we're able to get to an agreement so we can get a bill out. If the structure is there, so that if we all can come in alignment and say that we want this all elected school board and whatever the provisions may be, we have a vehicle to get the amendments in to get that particular bill passed. Now, are we going to get it passed? I don't know. It's the will of the committee. It's the will of the delegation, but we have a vehicle in place. So his bill is just a placeholder. There are amendments that are going to be submitted for this. And I don't think everybody's going to agree with all of the pieces of the county executive's recommendation. So it's many ways that we're dealing with this issue right now. So I just want you to be aware of that. This isn't a one size fits all situation. We're trying to get through it multiple ways. If we can't come to an agreement, then I believe we need to move forward with Delegate Pena-Melnick's her study to continue it out a little longer, to figure out what suggestions we get and where we have run into problems. But so that's all that is.
Thank
And
you.
I'm actually, and I got to go to county affairs now. I got two screens going at the same time. So I'm going to head over to county affairs now.
Okay, thank you, Delegate Charles. Did anyone else have any comments on PG 506? I think Delegate Ivey, as the chair has said, this bill is serving as a placeholder right now. So as of this moment, we're still going to get the get everybody the recommendations from the county exec and the study group, and hopefully be able to move forward with all of that combined information. Delegate Valentino Smith.
Thank you. I just want to really thank Delegate Ivy and the chair for clarifying, because it's not just for me. I think when we're on here and we hit live, it's that we're really trying to make sure that the public understands the process. It's hard with COVID. It's hard with Zoom, and we all are, I think my camera just went out there. Are you guys there? Sorry. We all kind of are trying to get a sense of what's going on, but the public's only chance to understand is now while we're here. And so that's really trying to elicit the vision for them to understand where we're going and what we're doing on this important issue. So I appreciate that from the two of them this morning. Thank you.
All right, thank you. If there are no other questions, thank you very much, Delegate Ivy, for your presentation, and I'm sure we'll see you again.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, thank you. We're going to move to Senate Bill 444. John, if you'd give the overview.
Thank you. So the title of this is Prince George's County School Board Districts Redistricting Plan, PG 507-22. This bill alters the boundaries of the school board districts for election of the members of the Prince George's County Board of Education. The alterations are consistent with the information reported to the U.S. Bureau of the Census as part of the 2020 Census Redistricting Data Program. This bill is an emergency bill, and there was no prior introduction.
Is anyone here? Is Senator Penske on? Or anyone from his office to present this bill? Many of us were able to basically see the map that was presented. This bill basically says school board districts redistricting plan, when in reality, it's only impacting one precinct or a split precinct. So without someone here to give us details and be able to answer questions.
I'm here, Delegate Proctor. I'm back.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, I'm not sure if you guys remember during the late hearing yesterday on Monday, I showed a map of the changes after Senator Penske provided his testimony on the changes. And it's literally it's a single precinct that is being swapped from District 5 to District 7. This has been sent out to all of the education advocates, the Board of Education. Everybody is all in alignment with this thing. We don't have any unnecessary issues, such as what we dealt with the county council mapping, what we dealt with the congressional or the legislative mapping. This was a simple fix. Senator Penske actually held to his word and made sure this was a easy transition and the easiest. And so it keeps up with the one person, one vote qualifier that we have to adhere to. And it's a simple change, like I said, from District 5 to District 7. And that precinct is Brown Station Road.
Thank you, Delegate Charles. Delegate Landis.
Yes, thank you. I don't know if it's appropriate at this time to make a motion that we endorse this. Is it appropriate, Madam Chair?
Yes, it
That
is.
Well, that's exactly what I move.
Second.
It is an easy fix, and I live in School Board District 5, so because it has no negative implications on the rest of the county, everything else is pretty much intact. I think that we should move forward.
Do we have a second?
Jay Howard, I second.
Okay, thank you. All right, we have a motion to move PG 444 All in favor? Yes, say yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Aye.
yes.
Any essentials, any no's? Thank you very much. Hearing none, we'll move PG 444 out of this subcommittee. Thank you very much for your work. Those are the only two bills we have today. So again, we have a big task trying to do the best we can for the school system, for the school children especially. So we will be addressing the school board issue again next week and hopefully have more information for everyone. Okay, thank you all very much and have a good rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.